Everyone, this is Rick Latona. Welcome to the open house of AntiqueClocksPriceGuide.com, and I am joined by the seller, Jeff Savage. Jeff, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, so this is a great way to let everybody know about your site. Just a little bit of quick housekeeping first. I want to give everybody a chance to read this if they're having a problem hearing. They can use their computer speakers or they can call into the phone number to listen in. So hopefully that message is getting across right now. And we're gonna start this the way we start all of these, Jeff, if you don't mind. Just kind of giving everybody a brief history of it, why you started the site, when you started it, what it's all about?
Sure. The site was started in the year 2000. That's when my partner Ryan Polite and I started developing it, actually.
Okay.
The reason it came about in the first place is besides loving technology myself and getting my first Macintosh computer in 1984, never looking back, I have a over 30 years career as a personal property appraiser. So I appraise art, antiques, silver, jewelry, all kinds of things. I go to people's homes and do an inventory and then go back and do the research and come up with values for insurance purposes or whatever purpose they want. Many times they want to know the value of things because they want to sell them, or they're dividing things up among heirs and they want things done equally. So, and that's something I've been formally trained in. But antique clocks was always a very, very difficult area to get reliable pricing information for. There are so many different models. There are millions of clocks that were made in the certainly in the 19th century and the 20th century. And until the internet came along, of course, it was really difficult to get information, except maybe from auction catalogs. But when the web really started taking off in around end of the 20th century, I saw that if I could use something like a database of clock values, then probably other people could too. But primarily I started doing it for myself, and we contacted a number of dealers and auctioneers who had posted their sales, their catalogs and the sale results on the web, and said, hey, why don't you give us permission to use your photos and your copy and sales results, and in exchange for every record that you provide us, we will provide a link back to your site from our site. So potentially an auctioneer could get 1,000, 2,000 or more links from our site back to their site. So it was a win-win situation. We got the content for free and they got free publicity and advertising, essentially. So the genesis of the web grew out of a real need, and we spent a lot of money spinning our wheels trying to find what worked and what didn't work in the early days. We were spending about $1,500 a month to drive traffic to the site.
Well, that was back in the early 2000s?
2000, yeah. But then around 2003 we made it, I did some SEO stuff and was diligent about that. Plus the fact that we have about 20,000 pages or more of content doesn't hurt, since Google likes deep content sites. But in about 2003 we started breaking even in terms of cash flow, because that's when we reached #1 on Google, and we've been there ever since for the keywords antique clocks and any number of other clock manufacturers.
That's great. Well, so
just one more thing that might be of interest.
Sure.
I once had a complaint. A very irate visitor to our site who had some resistance to paying for a subscription, but I got an email from this person, and they said, you guys must be a scam because every search that I do for antique clocks and information about my clock, every search that I do leads back to your site. So
That's fine. No,
that made me feel pretty good then.
yeah, no, we're gonna cover some of the keywords that you rank for. I mean, you definitely rank for a bunch of stuff. And we're gonna get to the subscriptions in a minute.
Mhm.
Real quick, I know I was just looking through your site and I took this screenshot. You know, where you're promoting for contributors. What is this all about?
This is just to attract more contributors to the site.
And what is a contributor?
A contributor is an auctioneer or a dealer, mainly auctioneers, who have sold antique clocks at auction, and we want them to provide us with the data. What we do is we go onto their site with their permission and scrape their site and then run it through a number of routines that we've developed to speed up the parsing of the information. So this is where we add value to the site.
Great.
And most of this information is available, but it would take hours and hours of searching the web to find the data that we get and make available to somebody to find in minutes.
Got it. So then the next thing, which you already brought up about the subscriptions. So tell us what people get when they subscribe.
When they subscribe either for 5 days, 30 days, or 1 year, they get access to, there's a tremendous amount of free information on the site. And a visitor can see all 25,000 or however many clocks we have on there now. This 21,000 is a little old. How many are there? I don't know. There's probably 60 or 70,000 photos because each record will often have anywhere from 3 to 8 photos associated with it that show the clock in detail. So somebody comparing their clock, to find comparables, will be able to identify it as best as possible. But so you don't have to pay to see all 25,000 photos, but if you want the sales data, that is a full description of the clock, the date it was sold, where it was sold, and what the pre-sale estimate was and what it actually sold for.
So it's really for the professionals.
Well, actually, what is it? 58% of our visitors only sign up for 5 days.
So they really just want to know the sales data on the clock that they have.
Yeah, Joe and Nancy inherited Grandma's clock, and they want to know if it's worth anything. They want to know if it's worth fixing. They want to sell it. People who are buying and selling clocks on eBay or collectors, they don't have to necessarily be a quote professional. Mm-hmm. Although that's where the $49.95 1-year subscriptions come in. Mm-hmm. Those are people who are much more actively buying and selling throughout the year.
Do you get many of those?
We get 28% of our subscriptions are those people. So
are 1 year?
Are 1 year, yeah. So 691 subscriptions in the past 12 months were 1 year. Hey, now we offer and many people resubscribe every year. So our subscriber base in terms of permanent 1-year subscribers who renew year over year basically has grown since the beginning. I can't give you the exact figures of how much it's grown, but one of the things we send out an automated email after 5 days offering to apply their 5-day subscription cost to a 30-day subscription cost. So they just have to pay the difference, and after also, the 30-day subscribers get an offer to upgrade to a year cost and apply their full 30-day cost to the year cost. And then for the year subscribers, we offer 13 months for the price of 12 when they renew. So this has had the effect of most of the bulk of our the biggest months are usually December and January for some reason. I don't know if maybe that's when we started getting the year subscriptions or not. But so because we offer our more permanent subscribers 13 months for the price of 12, the month with the highest bump, and there's a chart further on where you'll see that I think last January that was our highest revenue month for subscriptions.
Okay.
You'll see that the bump gets further and further out as it's a 13-month becomes a 13-month cycle instead of 12. So, you know, if the bump 3 years ago was biggest in November, now it's in December. You know, the next year it might have been December. The next year it might have been January. So it starts to kind of cycle through.
Okay. All right. So, in this annual revenue that you reported, the $70,792, how much of that is the? I mean, because I see product sales 29%, AdSense 71%.
Yeah, I don't.
Where's the subscription revenue in that?
That's the product sales because we don't buy or sell anything physical. It's just information. But I'm not sure if that mix is correct. Let me just double check on that. Let's see here, because I think it's.
It's possible that it's my fault when I was building this presentation. I got product sales confused with the. If you're saying that subscription revenue, because I mean I do see on the site that you have these links, but these are probably affiliate links to like these look like Amazon affiliate links and stuff like that. So.
Oh, the product sales, right. It's relatively insignificant, and I don't know with the state of the taxation situation. I haven't even kept up with whether we're actually getting anything from Amazon as an associate or not.
Are you
really,
in California?
Yeah, California.
Yeah, I think they nixed that. I think you're fine. That's not a problem anymore. Okay, but so just to clarify. Oh, and you know what? I just got a message from my designer who helps me put these things together that he thinks he reversed it, that it's actually 71 it's 71% subscriptions and 29% AdSense.
Right. But I will say that I went to an AdSense seminar that was in San Francisco last June, and after that made some suggested changes on the site, and the AdSense revenue jumped dramatically. It was just amazing.
All right. Well, let's make sure that this is clear because it's such an important issue. I'm going to change this live for all to see. Let's see, AdSense, and we're going to call this subscriptions.
Yeah.
All right, I'll tab this out here like that. F5. Back to the page.
71%.
There you go.
29%.
Okay, now it's correct. Glad we cleared that up, so I didn't want anybody to think the wrong thing. Okay, oops, I misspelled AdSense. Okay, let's move on to the next page. So here's a chart of revenue. This is what you were saying about how it spikes in January.
Right.
So it looks like this every year.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
And probably in another couple of years it'll spike in February. You know, as those 13-month cycle continues.
Got it. Expenses. So hosting, $100 a month. The subscription processing fees, that's like for Visa, MasterCard, is like the 3%, 5%, or what are you paying?
Right. It varies. We process through Costco and AuthorizeNet. So AuthorizeNet's the gateway. That costs us about, I don't know, $585 a year. I think it's a per transaction fee. And then yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask you, do you ever have any problems with chargebacks?
Very, very few. Next to none. I mean,
okay.
What? One every couple of months or something like that.
Yeah, I think I have.
A lot of times people don't recognize the charge on their card also because our parent company name is eCollectica Publishing, and on their subscription on their charge, it doesn't say that. It says, I mean, it says that instead of Antique Clock's price guide. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then data entry customer service on 80 hours at
Yeah.
20 hours, $20 an hour.
It's an estimate. The hours are the most accurate. Ryan and I are the ones that do the data entry and the customer service. And we don't need a lot of time during the year to do it. So it's a site that pretty much runs itself. But we figured if somebody had to be hired to do it, we figured 80 hours at $20.
Okay, so you're not actually spending the $1,600 right now. You're saying that that's all that would be required to run the whole site.
Right. No. I mean, if somebody wants to count their own salary in, then that's what the cost would be.
Okay.
At that price, you know, we value our services at higher, but we could be replaced probably for $20 an hour.
All right. Let me shut down
That make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah. It's not out of pocket though. And the $1,200 per year also for the server. We serve this site and what do we have, about 25 other sites? Yeah. 25 other domains that are not as developed, but provide a source of income, mainly AdSense. We serve all those sites on a Comcast business line for $99 a month. So we've been looking at co-locating our server just for more reliability, and there's a server farm in Las Vegas that I think would be about $75 a month.
All right. Let's move along. So I threw this slide on here just to show everybody how consistent the traffic is. This is a full year snapshot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
It's pretty reliable.
Yeah, that's about as reliable as it's going to get. Asking for any more reliability would be unreasonable. All right, so in that same time period of the year, you've had 500,000 visitors. About almost 32% of them returning visitors.
Mm-hmm. Which has grown over the years.
Okay, oh, sure. All right, 11.45 pages per visit. That's pretty high. They're definitely clicking around a lot.
Yeah.
Over 4 minutes. So these are the top keywords by traffic taken from your analytics report.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, antique clocks is the big one, but you had a lot of keywords in there. Obviously, you've got the long tail working for you. Just wanted everybody to get a chance to see this.
And this is, you know, we may have, for instance, back on that other page for Waterbury clocks, we may have 3,000 records of Waterbury clocks that have been sold. So, you know, it's very rich in terms of content. You know, these weren't SEO'd records where we planted these words. These just occur naturally in the content.
Yeah, sure. It's interesting that the Antique Clock Price Guide visitors look at 26 pages.
Yeah, that is interesting. And, you know, it could be return visitors. You know, another thing that isn't actually clear yet is that we have a sister site which is also included in the Price of Antique Clocks Price Guide, which is antiqueandsoniaclocks.com, which is, we have 1,000, Ansonia clocks were a manufacturer that went out of business in 1930, but they produced a lot of clocks. So people searching for Ansonia clocks, if they type in, for instance, Ansonia clocks in Google, I'm pretty sure we come up within the first 5 at least. Well, maybe we're number 1.
You're talking about this site, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's number 1 for Ansonia clocks. So you're saying this is included?
Yes, and this has AdSense from which we derive revenue too. So the AdSense that's been reported for, on Latona's for NT-Clock's price guide also includes revenue from here. And this, basically, this is a feeder site. It's a great front end because it has 1,000 records of Ansonia clocks with big pictures and model names and so forth. And if somebody on the web is looking to research their Ansonia clock, they'll find their way to AnsoniaClocks.com, and included in every record that they get to see, it says this is sponsored by AntiqueClocksPriceGuide.com, a little blurb. So we get a lot of traffic. There are a large number of page views from Antique Ansonia clocks, and we get a large amount of traffic feeding to Antique Clock's price guide. Now, we may not be to this point yet, but what we did with AntiqueAnsoniaClocks.com can be replicated for just about every keyword that is on. For instance, Waterbury Clock Company, we could have the same type of feeder site. We just haven't developed it.
Sure, I think most of our audience has a pretty good grip on that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So let's go move to the next page. So just wanted to show everybody the geographic breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Here's this was taken from semrush.com. Obviously, this isn't coming from analytics, but it's pretty accurate because I looked at his analytics report. 405 top 5 keywords, 87 number 1. And again, even on SEMrush, traffic looks very stable. These are just some of the big domains that are linking in. There's your AntiqueAnsoniaClocks.com. Are any of these other names on this list yours that we need to know about?
Clock Post.
Clock Post.
Number 5.
Okay, so if you sold these, would the link remain on Clock Post?
Actually, with Clock Post, it's a classified ad site that we started, I don't know, 8 years ago that we never really kept up. But we are in the process of finding a platform to add a classified ad section to Antique Clock's Price Guide, because I get a lot of customers and visitors wanting to know if we buy clocks. So this is a project we're right in the middle of right now. Is for not too much, we're going to add a classified ad section to AntiqueClocksPriceGuide.com and charge a small fee. So that'll maybe $5 for X number of weeks to advertise your clock, or added in as a premium if they decide to subscribe. They get X number of ads free. So
okay, is the link on clockpost.com right now going to stay there?
Yes, as long as that site. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I want to know. So tell us about the day-to-day operation of running the business.
There's not much to do, really, except look at what the sales were every day. Twice a year, approximately twice a year, we scrape some sites and run it through the parsing routines we've developed. And so we take the raw data and we sort it in the database so that our customers can search by manufacturer. We pull out the manufacturer's name, the model name where there's a model name, the country of origin, and the type of clock. So like I said, about twice a year we do that. The biggest clock auctions take place about twice a year.
Got it.
So we may get, we usually add about 2,000 records a year.
Okay.
And other than that, there are occasionally someone says, "Oh, I couldn't get onto the site," and we make sure we go into the database, make sure they're signed up, see if they have the right password, that kind of thing. But even that doesn't happen very often.
Okay. All right. So if I know you just touched on the classified section, what other things would you tell if you were to hand the keys over to a new owner right now and they asked you what are the things that you planned on getting around to for the site but you never got around to it, what would you tell them?
Well, certainly the classified ads thing is a big thing. And also we added a forum a couple of years ago, and I just have not put much energy into that. But I felt that if the forum could be developed more, that would add a whole lot more good keywords also, of course, to be spidered. I would also develop these other sites as feeder sites. That probably has the biggest potential. Just take some of these 25,000 records, choose 1,000 records for the biggest manufacturers, and not only would that give additional AdSense revenue from those feeder sites, it would feed more traffic to the main site, so we would pick up more in subscriptions. The subscription page I would redesign and make it a little more compelling. Do some A/B split tests to find out what would induce people to sign up at a higher rate. I think the sign-up rate is about 1%. Obviously, if that could be turned into 2%, we'd be talking about a huge jump in income.
Mm-hmm.
So those are just some things. There's also, I think, more of an opportunity to pursue advertising revenue from sources other than AdSense. We have a reciprocal agreement with a clock retailer in New York. Their ad appears on, it's that 1-800-CLOCKS. Their ad appears on our homepage, and if people call that toll-free number, they get a recording saying, if you're looking for clock values, go to antiqueclockspriceguide.com, because they don't want to be bothered with people calling for values, which is why they contacted us in the first place. They just want to sell clocks. Mm-hmm. There's an opportunity to tie in data from eBay, which I haven't pursued. Probably a lot of your viewers right now are familiar with sites that are nothing but feeder sites for eBay that people develop themselves, and if somebody signs up on eBay or buys something, they get a piece of the action, I believe.
Sure.
So adding eBay data in any form would be a huge boost.
Yeah, probably so. So why are you selling it?
Well, this is one of many projects that ended up being the biggest focus for us. And I mean, I've been an antique appraiser for a long time. We envisioned Antique Clocks Price Guide as one of quite a number of sites that we would be developing in other fields. Like we have antiquesilverpriceguide.com and antiquejewelrypriceguide.com and all these other things that basically from the very beginning I invested a lot of money of my own capital into getting this started, because to tell you the truth, for the first 3 years we didn't know what we were doing. It was the early days of the web, and we were just trying whatever worked. When it finally started working, we started developing other sites, but it's
so
really more of
can I paraphrase?
More about getting back. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to paraphrase from what I think you're trying to say. That you just want to take some money off the table, and
yes, and put it into other projects.
There you go. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's it in a nutshell.
So I've been asking all the questions that people have been sending me as we've gone along. So um, that's it. We're done. I appreciate you taking the time to go over everything with us. We'll make sure we get this out there to everybody. Thank you so much.
Sounds great, and always glad to answer any other questions that come up.
All right, buddy. Take care.